And we use a kind of stamp pad using Chinese ink, and we printed it along a line that is put on the paper, and it looks as if it is printed in a printing press.
Mahathir's activism also brought him closer to his father.
Strangely, my father did not oppose it. He knew what we were doing. He sort of encouraged me. And later on, we did discuss politics, which was strange because I never got into such discussions with him before. Apparently, he was also agitated by the proposals to create the Malay Union. I was still 20 years old, and he was asking me questions, and well, for me it was almost a breakthrough, because I've never had any serious discussion with my father before.
The rallies were a success, and the British backed down. UMNO leaders were soon heading to London to negotiate for the country's independence. But Mahathir wasn't an UMNO leader. He felt a degree would improve his political standing within the party. His first choice was to travel to England and study law. But he also had a backup plan.
There was this team of people going around interviewing people who wanted to study medicine, and I applied for that also. So they gave me a scholarship, and I couldn't say, well, no, I am not interested in this, I want to study law. In those days, you don't ask questions. What you are given, you take.
So 22-year-old Mahathir travelled south to Singapore to start a new chapter in his life. At King Edward VII Medical College, Mahathir was very disheartened to discover that his admission grades were dismal compared to the non-Malay students. They had 6 A's, he only 3. This made him even more determined to succeed.
Mahathir fared very well in his studies, except, I think, in the finals, he had to repeat one subject. But then most of us had to repeat that one subject, obstetrics and gynecology.
Even while studying, Mahathir always found time for politics, especially the political party UMNO. While he was the president of the Muslim Student Society, he disagreed with UMNO over admitting non-Malays into the party. Mahathir also arranged for a philanthropist to help fund tuition classes for Malay students.
Mahathir was more serious. He was concerned about the conditions of the people of the land. Now, that was the sort of thing which the average young medical student in Singapore did not do in those days. He was far more mature than the rest of us. Mahathir was very much a leader, not a follower. He had definite ideas of his own, which he enunciated.
Well, I had ideas that I can make some money writing for the press, for the papers. So I started writing, and of course I'm very interested in the social condition of the Malays. It is something close to my heart. I know the subject because it has interested me always. The problem of Malay farmers, problem of Malay fishermen, and women, the position of women, the position of the Malay language at that time.
Mahathir became a regular columnist for the Sunday Times, writing under his childhood nickname, Cekdet. Mahathir may have been very good at speaking his mind politically, but when it came to the opposite sex, he was at a loss for words. At the same medical school was 21-year-old Siti Hasmah.
She was not a raving beauty or anything like that, but you see, I was brought up not knowing girls at all. In school, it's a boys' school. I didn't even know how to behave with girls. I keep on referring to them as he, and I used the male pronoun because I wasn't used to girls. So being in the class with a girl is to me as a great leap forward in terms of culture, Malay culture.
He wasn't impressive at all. There's nothing striking about him except that he's from a young man from Kedah, and there were many of them.
Well, Hasma was the only girl in a group of 7 Malay students, so a lot of people crowd around her, not only the Malays, but the Indians and others also crowd around her. And I was sort of kept apart. But eventually, of course, I wanted to be close to her, like everybody else, and started carrying her books.
First, the qualities of Mahathir then became obvious when he excelled in his exams.
She failed for first year examination, so I had to teach her in physics.
He was very persistent to be a tutor and free of charge, so why not?
Finally, Mahathir found an occasion to express his true feelings to Siti Hasma.
They went somewhere and caught in the rain as he sent her back in the bus. He realized that she was in the rain, and he came back. So he said, "Why did you come back? You are wet." Then he said, "Came back because I love you."
So that was how it began.
Mahathir and Siti Hasma began their 8-year courtship.
First date, I can't remember because at the beginning we go around in a group. Then eventually, I guess they fall off. He must have signaled to them that he wants to take me out.
When did I do one of my first dates together? I think we went to a place by the seaside on a kind of jetty, and it was great fun.
Marine's Parade in Singapore, and there we had a very nice dinner.
And I suppose I can say that he wooed her and won her.
Finally, the day came for Mahathir to meet her parents.
During the university vacation, I bring my friends back to Kuala Lumpur before they go up north. And so one of them would be Mahathir, of course. And that was how he first met my parents. It was my grandmother who first approved of him before my parents did.
When he wanted to invite my sister to his hometown, he would send his family to fetch her from home. This is something that no one had done before, to show that how sincere he was towards their daughter.
My father made us promise something when he knew that our relationship is going to be very close. Made us promise that we graduate first before we have any thoughts of getting married.
In 1956, 31-year-old Dr. Mahathir proposed to Dr. Siti Hasma. They were married in a traditional Malay wedding ceremony. Politics was Mahathir's first calling. To realize it, he would have to give up his comfortable government job and risk opening his own practice. The first in his town for a Malay. 1957 would be a year of tremendous change for both the British colonial outpost of Malaya and 32-year-old Mahathir.
I was anxious to have my first child. I was quite excited, and of course I had initially wished to have a boy.
At that time there was no ultrasound to confirm, yeah. So everything was blue. My mother made everything for us blue. But Marina came, but we were happy. He was just as happy as he do to Marina.
Both of us loved her very much, so it was me a joy. We bought a nice pram, and I had always imagined myself pushing a pram with my child inside the pram.
always say that children take the example of their parents. So my dad certainly read a lot, still does, and had a library, and I just sort of systematically go through it. And when I was little, he would read with me. I think he bought this whole children's classics series with Black Beauty and Alice in Wonderland, Heidi, all those. And he encouraged me to read them. So we'd read a little bit every night. So I think that's where it came from. And I'm very happy to see that my kids are following the same path. They read and they like to write as well.
1 month after the birth of his daughter, Mahathir celebrated his own birthday.
My dad has 2 birthdays. One December, which is his official birthday, and one in July. So my dad's birthday was registered as, I think, December 20th, 1925. It was only later, a few years later, that apparently they found a notebook with their real birthdays. And that's how my dad discovered that his birthday was 10th July, 1925.
Mahathir wasn't the only one born in December. So were the rest of his 8 siblings. Mahathir's father was a school headmaster who believed that those born at the end of the year would have an advantage in class.
The rest of the country thinks it's December, and we're always amused in December when, you know, people send cakes, or the funniest thing is, or all these astrologers try to discern his character, and we're all very amused because obviously he's not, he's Cancer. So we remind him on his birthday, 10 July, and he knows he has one day to run out and buy a present for my mom, because her birthday will be the day after tomorrow, right? So that's usually the way he works it. But if we kept quiet, he wouldn't know that he'd missed my mom's birthday, and then he would have been in huge trouble.
A few months later, Mahathir witnessed another birth, Malaya's independence. Malaya's new leader was Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman.
It was an exciting period to know that now we are going through our own country. That was also the year that I left government service, started my own practice.
Dia kalau panggil ni tak tentu masa, pukul 2 malam, 3 malam ke apa ke, nak bicycle ke, motorcycle ke, dia pergi tak, dia tak boleh.
When Mahathir became the doctor, he was the first Malay doctor in Alustar. So naturally, they were very happy to find one of their kind, a doctor.
Many of Mahathir's patients were farmers living outside town.
Mahathir looked after them very well. When they come to see him from a distance, they have to pay their bus fares or whatever. They have no way to pay the medicines, which is very small, just 3 ringgit, which is the Malaysian dollar.
They can pay whatever they can afford. Or in some cases, of course, they owe you. They say they will pay later. So I have had instances where, when I was already Prime Minister, people coming up to me and saying that, well, I owe you $5. Here's the $5 that I owed you before. It's very touching. But I have never considered not treating patients simply because they cannot afford. I thought that would be wrong.
Mahathir would just give them free of charge. So he has been very generous in that aspect, and people eventually call him Dr. UMNO. UMNO is the political party, the Malay organization, and it stuck to him.
Well, I was flattered. This thing, I was the doctor for the political party. By that time, UMNO had been successful and had been the partner in the struggling for independence for Malaysia.
Since Marina's birth, Mahathir's family continued to grow. After Marina, he finally got the boy he wanted. After Mirzan, Melinda came, and 2 more boys.